This is day 830 of Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you like to sponsor a coming share or more of your Shulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. You'd be very greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Tavkuf Chaf Vav Tes Vav to Tavkuf Kuf Kuf Chav Zayin Aleph. What's the rest of Tavkuf Chav Vav is small seifim. Tes Vav. Hamlami has a mace. People who accompany the dead body. Soon the chava behema will be on the chain. Now to ride on an animal, even on the chain. Also to travel in a boat. After him, the rabbanon, even though so it's the only the chevra kadisha who's involved would be allowed to go in a car, not anybody who's malava. But after the rabbanon, even though it's the rabbanon, now car might be the right, so obviously depending on it's Yom Tov Sheni, so whatever. Even though it's rabbanon, come go years, it's a degradation of Yom Tov. It's not an honor for the mace. It's better not to accompany him than accompany him through a degradation. People have bury him. Should see him recover after bury him. But they can't go without riding or a sfina or a boat. We allow us Yontav Sheni. Will be Yontav Rishon, not on the first day. Yontav Sheni have a kachol chol v'rab. Yontav Sheni is like a weekday for all matters of the mace. Hashem Yontav Rishon is supposed to the first day Yontav. After Rishon, the Rishar Shvusi Tir Yontav Rishon. You know it's possible that other the Rabbanan say allowed in Yontav Rishon. Come shvus because this kind of shvus, the Av Shamil, so which is so public and so well, public is a good word. Loy tiru, they do not allow v'loy kaver hayom, and they do even if he's not going to be buried the first day. V'afgam Yontav Sheni loy kavu but year kavu but year. Even the Yontav Sheni, they should not ride in the city. Where they can walk. But Otahabi Chil Yontav because so Yontav Rishon we didn't allow any riding. Yontav Sheni we allowed some riding, but preferably not in the city, where it's even more public than outside the city. And probably not for a non-Jew. Yeshiva Kron sitting in a wagon is the same like riding. In the brackets it says in Mashik Shataz Yiv Kandal and Ma Shulchan Aruch. Taz asks what the Shor says. If it's possible not to ride, we should allow because it's only the Rabbanan. Look, it's not difficult at all. The Chiva Shani, ride is different. The Mishum the Dika Nikar Zilzo Yonter, because it's clear the degradation Yonter. Much Kasam as you wrote, much Kasam Avram, Sifkat, that's what behind Shem like Avram wrote. It's like if you know that late year Achas. People in a certain city become aware. She saw a mace, Munach Misham, that there's a dead Jew who's at a distance, Rachok Arba Chamish Yamim, he's 4 or 5 days away. The Loni Tamik Vura, and he was not yet buried. Even though they can't get them until after Yontav. Says they're allowed to start on the roadway. And Yontav Shein Kedei L'Malek in order to hasten the burial. V'Afshin is Baruch Chol Shein Kovrim so B'Yom Lo Shavu Rabbanan Kechol. Even though the Chol Mace. Yavshin is Baruch Chol Mace Shein Kovrim so B'Yom Lo Shavu Rabbanan Kechol. Even though we said that any mace was not buried that day, Rabbanan did not make Yontav him like a weekday. Zelk Shein Mutzal B'Vizoyer. Actually, he's not lying in a degraded state. That's what everyone they want to do today, they should do tomorrow. But it's in a degraded state. Like weekly on the microphone. So even in order to hasten his burial, especially concerned they can be eaten by dogs. Those who argue, but those who argue and say since we don't bury him that day, they can't go on the second day Yontif. But the primary halacha is to be lenient. As Mishabur says, he says that if he's in the body's in the middle of the field, you're even allowed to ride. If it's in the house, if there are non-Jews who present at that, and it's a non-Jewish house, you should only walk. But if it's the Jews' house is a Jewish house, you shouldn't be makel at all. So, not as makel as Arukh HaShulchan, that's for sure. You'd sign Asik Var Nefel beyond not allowed to bury a miscarriage in Yontif. The Inkvura is stillborn. The Inkvura is his Better doesn't push Yontif. After Yontif Shei, even second Yontif. Michal Machin, and even the next day. They mitzvah like for Nefel. Interesting. There's no mitzvah to bury miscarriage. And Yontif Nidcha, that's why Kvuras, and Yontif is not pushed off for the purpose of Kvura. Kengas are Rabbeinu Rama B'Sifyud. That's the Rama right. You should divide it to Mikvar and volume. Actually, this is so you certainly have to bury the stillborns. You mean a menida, like it says nida the akutim loyim makamin in the flame. The Samaritans will not bury their stillborns. I chum. So makamin is to do the Jews have to bury. Neither the adraba. Says Arukh HaShulchan. No, from here we see the contrary. You can't raya the aim mitzvah in the toilet cover. We see it's not a mitzvah the right to bury him. That's a Samaritans only do what's in the Torah explicitly, are not concerned with burying the stillborn. It's a rabbinic obligation. The Samaritans are not concerned with the Rabbanon. If it doesn't push up Yontif the Rabbanon, can the Gama Kvur the Rabbanon, because it's two Rabbanon, Kvur is also the Rabbanon. I say Rabbanon, but Dachli Rabbanon. One Rabbanon does not push up the other Rabbanon. It says in brackets, certainly Yashiv Sugi Nida Sham, the Sugi Nida requires evidently some resolution. Sharatzian says the base mayor writes that even though it's a mitzvah to bury a stillborn, it's not because of the honor of the Chaim. It's not sufficiently because of the covet of the Chaim and the Mason that push of Yontif. It's not because of the covet of either the live or the dead. That was Yontif. It's only that it shouldn't be lying around to make stuff tummy. Okay. Mishnah Berurah says that some Achronim disagree and they hold that burying a nefil is also a mitzvah. So then we could be in that case you could be mati Yontif Sheni through a non-Jew. Jew, that's obviously it's a point of contention, but through non-Jews. Nevertheless, Tinok Shemeza Tok Shloshim, a baby who dies within 30 days of birth, which generally we regard as stillborn in terms of Avelus. In Gamru Sarah, if his hair and his nails are complete, we assume that he was a live birth. Is like an adult corpse. Even though we don't know if he was a full-term baby. Most women will give birth to a viable child. Excuse me. We do this on the 8th day, assuming that the child is going to survive. This evidence that the Torah assumes that any child born is a viable child. And says do the bris milah on Shabbos, even though it's only day 8 and you don't know until day 30 for sure. The truth is that we would give him a bris milah anyway. It wouldn't be a problem. The if he's not viable, having you're not making a wound. You're just cutting meat. Okay, I mean, Shabbos. Never me to go. So I tell him Shabbos. So decree to do the bris milah also at Shabbos. He loved Avacheskas ben Kayama. Not that he was considered to be Bible. Lo yisok zeres atorah more lo dafka b'Shabbos. So not decree simply to do the bris milah on Shabbos. Hengang shemeis. Therefore, when he dies, have a go shemeis like an adult who dies for the purpose of burial. In brackets, he says here something which we can't really understand without seeing inside. But Kenyan is likely prior to the kokusha chamur shik shemar avram sikot yutas line jump. Okay, v'yesh misha also those who forbid being chal yontif sheni for this child. This is not the ikar der rishona that you're mechal yontif sheni for his burial. Okay, the rabbanon kabbanim badim mitzvah covering commercial side because at least rabbanon it's definitely a mitzvah to bury him. Although that didn't help for the nefel. I'm not sure why it helps for this one, but obviously it's considered to be some higher madrega. The word's consistent. He says you should be machmir to bury him specifically by a non-Jew, and that's what he even says in Yontif Rishon. But it's consistent with what he said before about a nefel. You test. Kasser Rabbeinu says to receive you. And follow Mishnagul Asir Allah some Tzor Evan of a Tzor Evan or Kana also feel Yontif Shen Shagolos. The stillborn males where they take off the foreskin with a piece of stone or the reed. That's no even Yontif Shen Shagolos. I can't show. Klamar the Zeshis Bashatinok Shemes with Sok Shloshim Noskin Lebe Cheskas Nefel. Now we say that a child who dies within 30 days is not assumed to be stillborn. So if you're buying Yontif Shen by a Jew, or Yontif Shen by any Yehudi, or by Yontif Shen by a non-Jew, Zelk Shemes Lachar Milah, he died after the bris milah. Avokana Milah Bechreach Lenich Lomach, but before, if he died before the bris milah, you have to leave him for the next day. Yesh Lemalo, Um, we have to give him a bris milah. Shlo he's by Yisham. He shouldn't be embarrassed in Shamayim. Mola b'yontav aser, and to do the bris milah yontav is forbidden. They ain't medina el minig b'alma. It's not the halacha to do that bris milah. It's just a minig. Api medrash, based on the medrash, ain't tzedach yontav doesn't push off yontav. Even though you're just cutting meat, dead meat, does not push off yontif. That's the case even when it's a full miscarriage. The hair is not complete, the nails are not complete. The hustle cover can't be in that day. The mutter, but non-Jew certainly is mutter to bury him, I guess, not do the bismillah. Yeah, it's a male. You have to do bismillah. You have to leave the next name. Nehamila ve'ein lemula de any hudiya. Explicitly, shouldn't do the bismillah by a non-Jew. The gnaylo, it's degrading for that stillborn child. Even says back as Kenya's daiti va'im again Avram. That's Arukh HaShulchan have his own opinion. A lot of Mishnah Berurah on this. Mishnah Berurah says that some say that. Meant to leave him until tomorrow for the bris milah. Mechaber seems to hold that you bury him that day without a bris milah. So it says that a child that they didn't have bris milah because of a sickness or some sort of other issue, and he died after 30 days without having bris. You certainly bury him on yontif, and you do also remove the orla on that same day. Yontif Sheni, which is big kula. Mishnah writes that you should. Oh, that's the next thing. Okay. Chaf. Because Rabbeinu Ramah b'siv ches, Ramah writes, the mutar lahavi mace yontif sheni mechutz l'tchulim. They'll have to bring a mace on the second day yontif from outside the 2,000 amos, toch a year into the city, the cover of Kuvas Yisrael and bury him in a Jewish grave. Abishev shel kol koma, you could bury him outside the city. Since there's no cemetery out beyond the tchum, Abishev shel cover shel masayim, you could bury him in the field b'vnei outside by himself. Ain't a covered. Mates, it's not proper respect for the dead. I feel me early in with Alicho, and even take a mace from city. You main base only be if there's no cemetery in the place where he died. Mishnah says according to us, we do kfura even on Yontif Sheni by non-Jews. The halacha is b'yontif by Yontif Rishon. Even if he died at night, you bury him. Oh, what does that do with anything? No, I don't. No, sorry, wrong one. It says you shouldn't be mako to bring him to another city on Yontif Sheni unless he already had been lying somewhere else for a while. But if there is a cemetery where he died, but he left a last will and testament that he should be buried with his fathers in another place, obviously and really he should fulfill his will. Not at the expense of Yontif. Yeshua Salach Yontif, we should leave him after Yontif. Yesh Lachushi Esriach, and it's possible he's going to become rancid. So kind bury him here. Yontif, and after Yontif, Matzil, so we can be removed from that grave. And take him to the graves of his forefathers. Chavav, ain't Kriya Mesa for Yontif Sheni. Don't do rice Kriya, don't tear a garment on the dead relative, even on the Sheni. If you even the relatives are required to do Kriya and to mourn. The Kriya is after Yontif. If he died on the night of Yontif Sheni, you bury him in the morning before davening. So the owner can daven. Jews rise during the day, you bury him after the Suda. It's any by us, we can't bury before davening. We only bury after the davening. Even he died at night. Even if we die during the day, we also bury him before eating. Whatever the meaning is, you should do. The saying Tzidin on Yontif is by your Tough Olive is explained elsewhere. The Avelus is by Tough Kuv Memches and Halach Avelus. Yontif will be explained. Mr. Wood says some people said it's according to we bury Yontif Sheni by non-Jew. It's like Yontif Rishon. Even if he dies at night, you bury him after the tefillah, after eating. So Arukh HaShulchan says the same thing. Mr. Wood says that some say it's better to bury him at the time when they say piyutim. And you better have 10 people come to the kvura. If it's a chashva person, everybody should go to Levaya, take him after davening. They bring him to the cemetery, and they leave him there, and they go to eat, and then afterwards they bury him. Nevertheless, if everything is prepared, so in a way that he won't be curtailed for Simchas Yontif by going to Levaya, it's better to bury him before you eat. Okay. Tav Chuv Chav Zayin. Dine Eruv Tavshilin. Long siman. Okay. Laws of Eruv Tavshilin. Alfenia Eruv Tavshilin Kfi Anira Mipsachim Mina Torah Tzorei Shabbos Nasim Yontif. Concept of Tavshilin. Seems from the one I'm talking that Mida writes, you can prepare for Shabbos and Yontif. You'll see if it says everything you need for eating. Shabbos Yontif Chad Kedusha. Shabbos Yontif one Kedusha. That's Shabbos they're both called Shabbos. Just like allowed to cook for Yontif itself, but the Basham you can cook for tomorrow. But Rabbanu, the gods who bake there, Rabbanu made the decree Shema Yomu Ovim Yontif Avachol. You shouldn't cook from Yontif to Shabbos because you might come to cook from Yontif to weekday. Cancel Erev Tavshilin. Once they enacted this Takon of Erev Tavshilin, Islay Kera, he has a way of recognizing the difference. Famous Radiv Rambam Reish Perek Vav seems to be clear evident for the Rambam. Shkasa writes Yontif Shchali is Be'er Shabbos. Yontif comes out of Shabbos. Ain't Ovinu Bashim Yontif Shabbos. You can't cook and can't bake and cook from Yontif to Shabbos. The Isus Emdi Beisayvin. This Isus Rabbanan Kadesh Level Bashim Yontif B'chol. So you shouldn't come to cook from Yontif to a weekday. Kavachomer l'Shabbos. Kavachomer. It's a kavachomer. Shabbos ain't even Vash. You're not cooking for Shabbos. So the Kodesh Gen Chodesh, they're not going to cook for a weekday. Ad Kamashon. End quote. Bein l'shoha kaimon hachara d'oraisa. We hold now preparing from one day Yontif to another day Yontif is the rice. So then Yontif make on Shabbos, and Yontif Shabbos is also a problem. Of course, that would seem difficult to Gimel. Then okay, that's not the case. The zel b'achon every day Shemayim. That's what is being prepared at the hands of heaven. Like an egg which is later Yontif. It's not talking about dishes which already exist in the world. But require cooking and baking. It's not relevant to machlekes where the Shabbos Yontif are one kedusha or two kedushos. Somebody the Rabban has to do with rabbinic issues. Eruv muktzah, v'noilach chitza b'hem. Eruv, tchumen, whatever, and muktzah, and nolat. But I mean, in the Torah, kedusha achas same in the Torah. They're one kedusha. I mean, the Torah tzarchei Shabbos nenasim Yontif, and midoraisa, tzarchei Shabbos are okay to do on Yontif. That's one opinion. Another opinion will be in Sid base, which is for it.